YouTube, welcome back to the channel, Rusty Acres. We're down here in the shop today. Gonna start working on this. It's a Frick lumber gauge wheel. Gonna put it on the #1 Frick. It was probably off of an 01. The set shaft is 1 11/16. On the #1, they have a 2-inch set shaft. So we're gonna get this tore apart, cleaned up, and I'll bring you along to watch. All right, everyone, first thing we're gonna do, see if we can get this wheel and pointer off. I don't know how that's gonna be. I'm sure this has been on here quite some time. But screws are coming out pretty easy. Let's see. See if we can knock this out with a drift. So this wheel measures to 42 inches. '01 was 40. #1 I think is 44. So I'm not really concerned with not having the extra 2 inches. The wheel will just keep going around, and if you've got a 44-inch log on there, you're not going to see this anyhow. These sit down right above the carriage, you know, in line with the set works, about the same position as the set works. And I'm not sure if you could get this band in different configurations, but for a 1-inch board, it advances an inch, and I don't know if this 1 inch is actually 1 1/8, because it should be an inch. The first measurement, this should be 1 inch, and then everything else should be, the distance should be 1 1/4. This is 1 1/8, and then 1 3/8 increments for 1 inch. And I don't know about 2 inch, because the band's a little messed up. But my plan was I was going to take his band off and get another piece of aluminum and wrap this, rivet it on, and have a decal made. to lay over top of this with the inch increment, or the ruler, inch, inch and a quarter, inch and a half, 2 inch. And then on this pointer, this is brass, cast here, but this pointer itself is brass. And I think when these were originally made, I think they were painted black and then the numbers were polished off so that you could see them. At least that's what it says in the manual. Now, this bracket, it's broken welded, and almost every bracket that I've seen that has had this lumber gauge wheel on it are all broke. I think if you open the head blocks up all the way and you have a big log, it must roll in and hit this and snap. That's how these get broke. Where's my drift? Now I have this bracket. This is the number on it's 1458C. And then the bracket for the number 1 in the parts manual says it should be a 1458.5C. I have another carriage, number 1 carriage, that does have this bracket because it would be different due to the fact that this is an 1.5 inch shaft and the number 1 has a 2 inch shaft. And I think it may be a little bit taller. But that I'm not certain. I'll have to do a side-by-side comparison. I don't know. I don't have this gear. So I'm going to call D&D or Albright's Fricko and see if maybe they have that. And if not, I guess I could maybe chuck this up and bore it. Cut a new keyway in it. It looks like somebody beat on it. It's pretty mushroomed up over here. So I don't know. Maybe we might be better off leaving it in the shaft. Chuck it up in the lathe and turn this shoulder true. That way we can chuck the gear up and bore it back out. All right, guys, stepped away from the camera so I could cut this shaft. It had, where is it? I don't know. I don't know what this is, some kind of coupler or something was welded on the end of the shaft, and I cut the shaft so that we could take it out of this bracket. And then the gear, which I did not think was going to come off that easy, knocked right off the shaft. So actually the whole thing came apart a lot easier than I thought it would. This gear, I'm going to put it back on the shaft. I'll tighten it down with the set screw. Chuck the shaft in the lathe, turn the shoulder true, chuck this gear up in the lathe, bore it out 2 inches so it fits the set shaft on the number 1 mill. Clean all this up, paint it. Take the band, I'm going to take this band off, and I'll put another piece of aluminum on here, and I'm going to have a decal made for it, and have the ruler 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 8/4, because these boards here, everything's 1/8 over. So it'll be, the boards are actually 1 1/8, 1 3/8, 1 5/8, 2 1/8. And that's not what I want. So, but anyhow, thanks for watching. Bring you back when we get this painted up and take it down to the mill.